We came from a world where for 25 years we built all of our technology within a single app, Photoshop, that was defined by a single platform, which was the PC, Mac or Windows.
There's no way to master the whole application. It's absolutely enormous.
Photoshop is really at the maximum, the peak of its development.
To ensure continued relevance, Adobe assembled an international team to update the venerable Photoshop for the most modern platform, mobile devices.
The world was no longer about standalone, isolated PC software. The way that this all started was we were working on camera shake reduction. And again, we were doing what we normally do, which is building it into Photoshop, building it as a plugin for Photoshop. And David Wadhwani and Shantanu Narayan were kind of pushing to say, well, why don't you implement that, outside of Photoshop?
Photoshop wasn't invented for mobile device. So there's a really great opportunity for us to take a look at that space, right? So with the emerging of the cloud computing mobile device, it gave me a perfect opportunity. So I just jumped on it. Cloud computing is kind of nature come to people's mind because now you have network, right? I mean, your device are connected to some bigger machine. So why don't you leverage the computation of those bigger machines, right? That makes sense.
Adobe started a small research project called Octopus. Little did they know how important it would become.
Octopus is a very unorthodox project in that normally someone would talk about an opportunity, they'd staff a team, they'd spec out what it would look like, and then it would move from there.
Okay, I want this product to be able to be easy to be used and also have some fun element in it. I started to collaborate with Adobe China. The Beijing team is a chief young engineer over there, and they are hungry to do something new.
They are also proud of Photoshop. That's an engineering dreaming project.
So we developed a prototype to put the computation part to the cloud.
We showed it to the board, and Chuck Jeske, one of the founders of Adobe, said this is one of the most significant pieces of development I've seen out of the company in 18 months.
A light bulb sort of went off in everyone's minds in that we realized that this could be significantly bigger than we had thought it was, or it could be back then.
Adobe renamed Octopus Orion, and instead of staying a research project, it evolved into a creative software development kit.
There was this notion of building a software development kit for third parties. Upper Adobe decided that Orion would be a fantastic pedestal application. There would be a whole creative SDK available for third parties to make mobile applications, and we needed something to showcase what was possible with imaging. So it's really gone from this skunkworks project to having a very fixed schedule, fixed feature set, and sort of being the crown jewel.
When creating a demo app to show developers what they could make with the Orion Software Development Kit, Photoshop Mix was born.
We had a pretty evolved prototype application, something that we could show third-party developers and say, you too could build something like this.
2 months before Photoshop Mix was to be submitted to the Apple Store, the team hit a huge stumbling block.
What we quickly found is that I could drive a demo and people would like what I showed them, but as soon as they tried to drive it themselves, they bumped into problems.
We got a number of feedback, and coming back to us says this is too desktop-ish and too much like, it really does not feel like a mobile app.
And we realized pretty quickly that we had some serious workflow problems.
So at that point, we actually got a new designer come on board, and then who has more experience in the mobile app.
So we did this massive, massive usability pivot.
And because of that, a lot of things get changed, and that pressure is a tremendous amount of pressure.
The way that we've solved this is we've brought about a half dozen guys over from Beijing to live here. These guys live in 2 apartments, but they're just working like mad.
So we're really just striving to the last minute of it.
Submission means you're at the mercy of Apple, right? So basically we are trying to submit the application to the App Store, right? And Apple has a process of make sure this application is friendly, right? It's good for submission. And so we're talking about we're going to submit on D-Day, 6/6. And I know we are really chasing a lot of moving targets. We all suffer together.
We had a launch date set. We couldn't miss our release.
We're really against all the odds, and because I think we truly believe that if we give all our hearts in there, our work in there, and we will have the support of Adobe behind us.
They approved us in days. It could take months.
I'd like to introduce you to Adobe Photoshop Mix, a precise compositing masking app, and I'd like to have Brian O'Neill Hughes come up and show us.
I mean, it's really unthinkable. If I ever look at, my entire life and career, that's probably the most difficult moment. Not 2 weeks, and maybe, looking back 2 months before that, because we're asking to do something, it's impossible. I can only say the reason why we can pull it over is because we have a religious belief that we have to do it.
And Mix generated more than any of the other apps. It generated hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Adobe IDs. 70% of them are doing 2-layer composites. I just couldn't be more thrilled that new people are doing difficult things with this app, because that was the whole point.
We're just now kind of coming into the second wave of digital media and really fulfilling the promise of what digital media offered, which was really democratized creativity. That all of us have the ability to be able to kind of create and make an impact. We all have this creative spark within us.